Isn't it just wild how fast the AI world is spinning?
Wow, it really is. Feels like just yesterday we were, getting our heads around ChatGPT.
Exactly. And now it's like entire industries are being reshaped almost overnight.
For sure. And knowing who's actually leading the charge in this whirlwind, that's not just interesting, it's genuinely valuable.
Yeah, really valuable intel, whether you're running a business, thinking about your career, or just trying to, well, keep up.
That's such a key point. It's not enough just to know AI is out there. We really need to understand the dynamics, who the major players are, where it's all headed.
Right. And that's exactly what we're trying to do today. We've got some pretty compelling recent data, mostly from a TechCrunch article.
And what's interesting is that article leans heavily on actual spending data, right? From Ramp, the fintech firm.
Exactly. So it gives us a kind of tangible look at where businesses are actually putting their AI dollars.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive seems clear then. Let's really try to get under the skin of this Ramp AI index.
Yeah, figure out the key trends.
And then zoom out a bit, see what it tells us about the, the bigger AI picture.
Try and cut through some of the noise and focus on what the numbers might be suggesting.
Let's do it.
Okay, so diving in. The thing that really grabbed me from that TechCrunch piece was OpenAI. It looks like they have a serious command in the enterprise space.
Yeah, the Ramp Index isn't just saying they're a player. It really suggests they're, well, pulling ahead quite significantly.
The numbers are quite something, aren't they?
They really are. So Ramp's data showed, 32.4% of U.S. businesses paying for OpenAI by April.
Yeah, and that's up from like 18.9% in January.
Yeah.
And even 28% in March.
That jump. January to April, that kind of climb is pretty steep. It's hard to ignore that speed.
Totally. The velocity of that growth, as Ramp's economist Eric Karzian apparently put it, is striking.
It really highlights how quickly they seem to be gaining traction, doesn't it?
He apparently emphasized that specifically the pace they're onboarding business customers is, well, unmatched according to this data.
And that rapid adoption.
Right.
It really speaks volumes about market momentum,
Suggests their offerings are hitting the mark somehow.
It certainly suggests that, yeah, and that they're capturing a big slice of the new demand.
Now, what makes this even more interesting, I think, is comparing OpenAI's growth to the competition.
Right, because while OpenAI seems to be accelerating,
others look like they're having a tougher time, at least based on the specific Ramp data.
Exactly. Take Anthropic. They saw growth, sure.
Yeah, they hit 8% adoption in April, up from what?
So progress, definitely. But the pace compared to OpenAI, it's noticeably slower.
But maybe the most surprising bit, for me anyway, was Google.
Yes. Google AI subscription.
The Ramp data showed a pretty significant drop there, didn't it? Down to just 0.1% in April.
Yeah, after being at 2.3% back in February, that's a dramatic shift downwards in just a couple of months.
It makes you wonder, though, could it be how they're bundling AI? Like maybe it's integrated into Workspace and stuff so it doesn't show up as a standalone AI subscription in Ramp's data?
That's a really sharp question. It could absolutely be a factor. It definitely raises questions about their go-to-market strategy for AI, or at least how it's being captured by this particular metric.
Yeah, how businesses are actually adopting it versus just, having it included.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's crucial we remember. This Ramp AI index, while it's fascinating, isn't the absolute final word, right?
Absolutely not. It's a snapshot. The TechCrunch article itself flags some important limitations.
First big one is the sample size. It's based on spending data from around 30,000 companies.
Which is a lot of companies, definitely. But still, it is a sample. It might not perfectly mirror the entire U.S. business landscape.
Good point. And the other thing is how they identify AI spending.
Right. It's based on vendor names and specific line items on the bill.
So if AI costs are bundled into, say, a bigger software deal or just categorized differently,
the index might miss it. It could undercount the total AI spend going on.
So we need that caveat. It likely understates the full picture.
Definitely. But even with those limitations, the trend it suggests, OpenAI getting stronger in enterprise, that still feels like a significant finding.
Yeah, it points to some real momentum behind them. And it kind of lines up with OpenAI's own numbers too, doesn't it?
It does. They said back in April they'd passed 2 million business users.
Which was double what they had the previous September, apparently.
So that self-reported growth seems to echo what the ramp data is picking up. It adds weight to this idea of strong enterprise penetration.
And then you look at their revenue forecasts. What was it, $12.7 billion this year?
Yeah, and projecting nearly $30 billion, 29.4 in 2026, and they expect enterprise revenue to be a huge chunk of that.
That shows massive ambition and suggests they think they have the market traction to back it up.
Seems that way. Now, here's where it gets maybe even more interesting. Their future plans.
These specialized AI agents idea. Yeah. TechCrunch mentioned them possibly charging businesses like thousands of dollars for these custom AI agents.
For specific tasks like software engineering or research.
That signals a real shift, doesn't it, towards much higher value, bespoke AI for big clients.
It really does. And it kind of makes sense when you hear they don't expect to be cash flow positive until, 2029?
Right. Suggests they're playing the long game, investing massively now, probably in building out these more sophisticated capabilities.
Makes sense. So the big question then is, why? Why this apparent dominance for OpenAI?
Yeah, why are they seeing this rapid adoption while others seem to be, struggling a bit more, at least in this data set?
Well, there are probably a few things going on. First mover advantage has to be part of it, right? With models like GPT, they really set the agenda early on.
True. And their brand recognition is just huge. That must pull businesses in.
Definitely. But you also have to look at the tech itself, maybe their specific features or, crucially, their APIs.
The APIs. That's key for businesses wanting to integrate AI, isn't it? Making it easy for different software to talk to OpenAI.
Exactly. And reports from developers often highlight that OpenAI's APIs are relatively easy to work with, good documentation, good tools.
Which might be a real edge over competitors if their integration story is maybe a bit less smooth.
Could be. That ease of integration lowers the barrier to entry for companies. Plus, good marketing, strategic partnerships. They all add up.
Right. It could be a mix of all these things creating this, powerful momentum.
But what does this mean for the market overall? Is this heading towards a winner-takes-all situation in enterprise AI?
Or is there still plenty of room for others to carve out niches, find specific areas where they can excel?
It really makes you think, especially if you're a business right now trying to decide on an AI strategy.
Do you just go with the apparent market leader, OpenAI?
Or are there good reasons, maybe strategic advantages, to looking at other providers, even if their market share looks smaller on this kind of index?
Maybe others have better pricing for certain things, or specialize in a specific industry you're in.
Exactly. Those are the calculations businesses need to make.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Our deep dive into this ramp data via TechCrunch really points to OpenAI having a significant lead in enterprise AI adoption right now.
With their growth seemingly outpacing competitors like Anthropic, and a really surprising dip for Google in direct subscription numbers, at least.
We also got to keep in mind the limitations of the data. It's a sample. It might miss bundled spending.
Crucial caveats. But despite that, the overall signal seems strong. OpenAI is cementing its position.
And we touched on their own growth figures, their big revenue ambitions, and those future plans for specialized high-value AI agents.
Yeah. And zooming out from the data itself, these trends make you wonder about the long term, don't they? For innovation, for competition in AI generally.
This kind of rapid concentration around one player,
it
does raise some important questions.
Absolutely.
Which kind of leads us perfectly into our final thought for you, the listener, to mull over.
Given these trends, what are the potential long-term consequences here?
Should businesses be worried more about, say, vendor lock-in if one company becomes incredibly dominant?
Or is the main goal right now just the rapid progress that a clear market leader might be driving?
It's a real tension, isn't it? Something definitely worth keeping in mind as you navigate this, constantly evolving world of AI.